Hi everyone and welcome to the Daily HUD. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Dom, and today we've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about because it is Thursday, the last day, squeaky chair over there. I swear that was not my buttocks, it was the chair, but it was my buttocks moving the chair. Anyways, we got a lot of stuff to go through.
ESL Pro League.
Yeah, we've got the Overwatch League as well. We're also going to be seeing some Call of Duty results. Dota 2's Epicenter major qualifiers are starting this week.
NBA 2K League, Esports Central Montreal, Fortnite, and John Wick.
Yes.
Complexity gets a beer sponsorship and Rainbow Six new operator. And what's this about Ubisoft?
Yes, we're not quite sure, but we might, perchance, be getting some new Ubisoft titles within the near future. But we're not quite sure what that means just yet. Of course, we'll be talking about that as we get towards that a little bit later. But we've still got to get through all of our esports news first. You all right there?
Yeah.
It's the chair. I swear it's the chair. We'll light a candle if we really need to. But let's get into what's happening.
Keep going.
With the Overwatch
First
League.
up, we're talking Overwatch League and looking at the fun results from last night's All-Star games. Those are pretty fun, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it was a dealer's choice or
Yeah,
basically
it kind of went every
rights.
which way.
Right.
Yeah.
The Overwatch League All-Stars event kicked off yesterday with some entertaining matches, opening things up with the talent takedown. The Atlantic Division looked strong, opening Game 1 with a victory on Necropolis. Afterwards, they continued their success on Game 2 with a victory on Watch Point, Gibraltar. Though, because this is a fun event, the maps continued despite the Atlantic Division taking a 2-0 advantage in the series. Game 3 went to Ling Tower, and though the Atlantic Division had technically won the best of 3, the Pacific Division finally came back and took their first map victory. Afterwards, things got hectic as the All-Star Arcade kicked off. The Pacific Division was looking for revenge after the initial defeat in the talent takedown, and they came out swinging with one game on sibling rivalry and with some hilarious Genji and Hanzo action. And then similarly continued their success with Game 2 victory on Healers Never Die. Game 3 finally saw a return towards the Atlantic Division on terrible damage, but the Pacific Division quickly closed the best of 5 and just afterwards on Game 4 in keeping the peace. Once again, McCree fires the last shot.
Yes. Now that was our last, or not our last event yesterday. We still had the Widowmaker 1-versus-1 aim battle, which was actually a lot of fun to watch. I got to watch a few games of that. And despite 3 very talented members of the New York Excelsior placing in the top 8, first place went to DM of the Shanghai Dragons. Now DM walked his way up the bracket, taking the only flawless game of the entire top 8 in his first match against Violent. The only competition that he really experienced over the course of the bracket seems to have come from Nen in the grand finals in that 9-5 series overall. And again, that's just the first day of the fun action. Today we're going to be seeing the end of the tournament with the All-Star game starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. This is, again, the Atlantic versus the Pacific, talking about Eastern versus Pacific time zones in this matchup, with the starting rosters decided by fan vote. And then from there, it's up to the players, the coaches, the casters, and the staff to round out their squads for the remainder of the series. We will be bringing you those updates as they happen. Gosh, it is Thursday. I can't, look, we got a squeaky chair. Don't know how to read the words today. We still got some more to go through.
On the page, there is so much more to cover today. Next, we'll be looking at the ESL Pro League results from last night and looking towards the closeout of this round of groups. Okay, so in the America region, we had a group MRBR, Renegades, Complexity, and Isurus Gaming. Yesterday, we saw the second set with the Renegades taking a 2-0 win against Isurus. Afterwards, MIBR took the stage and closed out a 2-1 series against Complexity Gaming. Looking at the current standings, MIBR leads the group at 2-0 and tied in first with teams Viz Renegades, matching at a 2-0. Complexity and Isurus will be playing as well, both at 0-2. However, neither have had a chance to advance to the next stage of the tournaments. This important match will start at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight with MIVR versus Renegades dueling the final spot out of their groups. The two teams enter and only one team leaves.
Yeah, and of course that's just the Americas region. In Europe, things are looking much more muddied as Hellraisers, Aristocracy, Fnatic, and Optic Gaming are opening things up with Group A. However, again, as this filming, the results of last name's games, every single team is at 1-1 in the standings. But also of note, the European Stage 2 group stage also has 2 spots for every group of 4 teams. So it's not just one team moves forward, and today's matches are going to determine who advances. First up, we've got Optic versus Hellraisers, and after that, Aristocracy take on Fnatic. And because everyone is 1-1, whoever wins this final game of both of these matches advances on to the next stage. The rules are simple. Winners move on, losers do not. And
a lot is on the line for these guys.
Yeah, exactly. This is the second round of elimination, so hopefully they've learned their lessons by now, but maybe not considering the competition involved in this tournament.
Yeah, competition is very high with complexity out there and our unexpected contenders and MIBR.
Yeah, MIBR are also putting on some games as well.
Still standing.
My fingers are a little crossed for them. I know we're supposed to be unbiased, but I'm starting to build up a little bit of a fan affection towards the team, like constantly seeing them play a bit more.
South of the border, who like to shake things up a bit. And I like a team that likes a good fight.
Yeah.
That's what I'm impressed with.
They are some spicy boys.
Yeah.
They've got some
with their
fight
fight
in them.
out with Luminosity. Right?
Exactly. Still though, if you haven't got your CSGO fix, there's no need to worry. We're going to get another round of groups played in both Europe and the Americas starting next Tuesday and running through next Thursday, a week from now. Yeah, so we've still got a huge amount of games.
You didn't get my Tuesday joke that I told you. So I said I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. Popeye fans out there? No?
I mean, we could just pop open some spinach and if we're going Popeye over here.
I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
I still don't remember that joke. Nope.
It's
I was playing video games. I was playing
Super
Mario.
moving on. The next league we're following up is the CWL.
Yes, the Call of Duty World League, the Pro Tour, is still going on. Games opened with UYU versus Midnight and ran throughout yesterday afternoon. Of course, Midnight ended up taking that series in a 3-2 against UYU. Optic ended up taking their own 3-2 against FaZe Clan. Reciprocity went 3-2 against Gen G. Evil Geniuses ended up closing out the day with a 3-1 against Luminosity. Now, of note from yesterday's games, Gen G, who was the #1 team in the league, dropped their match against the middle-of-the-pack team of Reciprocity. This has closed the gap enough to allow Optic, after their own victory, to catch up and tie Gen G in win-loss. Now, Midnight are still chasing those top teams, so their win yesterday should help keep them in touching distance of those other teams as well. Looking at today's schedule, we're going to be seeing Reciprocity return to the stage against FaZe Clan, Evil Geniuses versus Gen G, Midnight versus Luminosity, and finally Optic Gaming versus UYU. And as we said, though Gen G have stumbled with their loss yesterday, today they've got a team even lower in the standings at Evil Geniuses. So this ought to be an easy day for them, unlike me working on this today. They really ought to take this game without too much fuss, as their opponents, again, currently tied with them in the standings of Optic Gaming, are taking on the last place team of UYU. So we are expecting Optic to win. So if Gen G want to keep pace with them, they should be winning their own game. Elsewhere, FaZe and Reciprocity are side by side in the standings, and though FaZe are in the lead overall, this looks to be the closest and most even matchup of the day for those CWL games.
The most likely to watch game.
What probably is the most competitive, I guess I would say, because you have the two teams side by side in the standings, so we are expecting something a little bit good there. But who knows? We could very well see Evil Geniuses actually put a good battle against Gen G, considering the fact that they dropped yesterday.
Well, and Gen G has to win that game to still
because
stay.
Optic are going against UYU, who are not a great team, so there's an uphill battle for them to go through. But hey, fingers are crossed. We'll see how that's going for. Again, we'll be bringing you those results on tomorrow's show once we're done with today's show and we get the results for all that later on.
Perfect. Next, we're looking at our last Dota 2 major before the international that is later on this year. And by the way, that prize pool is definitely growing. The games kicked off yesterday with 14 total matches played in the first stage of group play. The 8 teams participated clashed against each other in a single best-of-1 round robin. often. Rather than recounting each match point by point, we'll leave a link in the description to where you can check that out for yourself, and we will tell you the current standings. In the North America region, Forward Gaming are in first with 4-0, with Evil Geniuses just behind at 3-0. Tied in third and fourth is J-Storm and Complexity Gaming at 2-2 apiece, and Team Zolot?
Yes, Zolotl.
Following
Zolotl.
at a
It's like
1 and 2.
the old Incan Zolotl, or it could be Mayan, I apologize, yes. But again, they're at 1 and 2.
Oh, with the X. I
Yeah,
know, but
yeah.
Oaxaca. Oh, that's an O.
Yeah. But again,
X's get me confused. To close out the standings, Black Sheep are 1 and 3 in last place. Young Drug Gaming is currently at 0 and 3. That was easy for me.
Yeah.
And the second half of those games will be played later today to determine the final standings of the group, with first place advancing straight to the stage of the major. And the 2 teams through 5 are entering a secondary elimination bracket for the second shot at the tournament slot. In Europe, some big names are competing.
Yeah, those are going to be OG with Origin. OG Gaming at 4-0, Alliance at 3-1, Team Secret just behind them at 3-1, Ninjas in Pajamas at 2-2, Aachen City Esports at 2-3, Team Liquid at 2-3, the Final Tribe at 1-4, and finally tied with the Final Tribe in last place is Team Singularity, also at 1-4. Now, just like in North America, there's still another day's worth of games to be played with the exact same qualifier structure, with first place advancing and second through fifth entering that second chance playoff bracket. Now, after we determine who's going on, the Epicenter major main stage games will begin in late June. So while we do have these qualifiers now, we will be seeing the penultimate conclusion to this around June 22nd, I want to say is when it starts.
That is correct.
Yes.
In Russia, the 4th.
Yes, and again, this is the last major before the international in August, which
so their
means
last
July.
opportunity to get those extra points.
Exactly, to get those
qualify.
circuit points. There's going to be nothing in July, and then in August we've got the international, which is getting bigger and bigger every day.
Yes.
Earlier this week we checked on it, and it was just cresting over 11 million.
Wow.
I haven't checked this morning, but my money's on, I would say 13 at about this point. Yeah. I mean, it is starting to hit that taper off stage.
Right,
so.
I know. So their last year was 28?
26
26
was last year.
Okay, yeah. So they're kind of hoping for $30
I
million.
mean, $30 million,
online.
yes.
That is a lot of
And
money.
that's only 25% of every battle pass, which is $2.50 of a $10 battle pass. So that means that Valve is walking away with 30 times 3 is $90 million. $90 million. All you need to do is make a game and have it be a successful esport, and you too
This guy's really smart.
can get $90 million.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think we should start hedging what it will be. Like,
Start taking our own
yeah,
bets
we
on the.
should.
I feel like those betting sites are already on top of it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Exactly.
I'm sure people are gambling out there
Yes.
and getting it done. Good. Okay, so looking on to our sports game coverage, we're going back to the NBA 2K League, which finally resumed its regular season play after last week's tournament in Viva Las Vegas. The matches opened up with Magic Gaming versus Pistons GT. Magic was 63-55 Pistons. Kingsguard 81-61 versus the Pacers. Heat Check had a 86-55 with the Cavs. T-Wolves beat out the Pistons at a 73-59, and Pacers Gaming 82-66 against Heat Check once again.
Yes, and as we said yesterday, our teams to watch would be the Pistons, Heat Check, and the Pacers. First up, amazingly, the Pacers, who have thus far been undefeated, have finally dropped a game against Kingsguard, who certainly they're no slouches, they're on the upper half of the bracket, but in an 81-61 scoreline overall was very unexpected and very surprising for this first loss of the at least as of yesterday, undefeated Pacers. Tragically, though, with this defeat, they ended up dropping from the upper echelons. Their tie with the Mavs Gaming is done, and the Mavs are now the only undefeated team still left in the league. Though, like the rest of us, it seems like Pacers have tried to make up for it with their second game against Heat Check, where they absolutely smashed them. Now, speaking of Heat Check, they landed exactly where we wanted to, and actually where we expected them to go. They're in the middle of the standings. They ended up taking their 1-1, keeping it close. But looking towards our last team to watch, the Pistons ended up dropping both of their games yesterday, falling even further in the standings to 1-6 overall, which makes them the second to worst team in the league as of the time of this filming. But hey, you're laughing over here. These guys are competing so much.
Aw, these standings are so interesting. It's just, it's kind of a gamble. You got to wait until the playoffs to really
exactly,
see
and that's the thing,
shine
right?
through.
This is week, I want to say 6 of 14. So there is still a lot of games to go for, including the ones happening tomorrow. Today,
right
You're
now.
right, today.
Right now. We've got Jazz Gaming versus the Cavs, Bucks Gaming versus Kings Guard Gaming, Warriors Gaming Squad versus Magic Gaming, Grizz Gaming versus T-Wolves Gaming. And there aren't any double-up teams in today's matches, but if you're looking for something compelling, look towards the second match with the Bucks and Kingsguard Gaming, as they're currently neighbors in the standings at 4th and 5th.
Yes, so that looks to be the most exciting match of all of the matches happening today, because like we said, there aren't any double-ups. Yeah. So we're not going to get any chance to see Heat Check go twice and say, okay, well, they need to take 2 games or they need to go 1-1. Really, it's just everybody wants to play and win today.
Hopefully everybly wins, but not Jazz.
Not Jazz
Jazz
Gaming,
always
no?
beat my Warriors.
Well, maybe next time.
Oops, I'm being biased.
Sure. But hey, finally, to close out our esports news, we're talking a new esports arena that was set to open at the end of this month in Montreal, Canada. While it's not the first esports arena globally to open, this Esports Central in Montreal will yield its front doors to the public on May 31st as a 14,000 square foot gaming utopia. The venue has already partnered with a handful of pro organizations such as ASUS ROG, F1, and Red Bull, even sponsoring a League of Legends tournament and a whole bunch more.
Not bad.
This is quite exciting because we're starting to see more and more of these regional arenas pop up. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had in Addison, Texas, Dallas basically, the Allen Event Center host the Overwatch League.
Right.
Now we've got another arena popping up in Montreal. We know that there's already one set in New York for NBA. Blizzard's in Los Angeles. Yeah. We're starting to populate and fill out the North America with all of these different venues and arenas so that we can get true regionalism in esports and gaming, which is mind-blowing.
It'll be great too. With some cities, possibly they can reutilize some arenas that they have that may or may not be as used.
I mean, we've already seen this with League of Legends. Their grand finals, I want to say in 2015, but I could be wrong, were in the Staples Center in Los Angeles, where the Lakers play. And they sold out the Staples Center for the grand finals for the World Championship. Absolutely.
That is incredible.
So certainly, while we aren't going to be expecting regular selling outs of the Staples Center, seeing these smaller, medium-sized arenas start to slowly populate around the United States is a really cool way. I guess my biggest... First of all, I'm excited, but my biggest fear, though, is that gaming is something that always has happened online. You make your friends online, you spend time with your friends online. You don't really... If you play with friends locally, then that's because you know them somehow in your day-to-day life. While these arenas can help accommodate that, will it actually succeed in that way? Can every city support an esports arena-based infrastructure? Or will they end up
Or will it be kind of more of a Silicon Valley, LA kind of
Exactly. Like, is it going to be the sort of thing that only happens in gaming cities like Seattle and Los Angeles and somehow Dallas? I don't know. I grew up in Dallas, Texas.
Well, I kind of like the idea of community, and I think it would be great. You know, I mean, people have festivals, people gather for different conferences, so gaming can just be another one on the list.
Exactly. The skeptic in me just has to wonder about the break point of the cost to build these arenas in all of these different cities compared to this return of people actually visiting these arenas. And that comes out to like the gamer population density per city in the United States, and that's this whole
and we're also seeing sponsors like Red Bull. I mean, Red Bull gives you wings. I'm a huge snowboarder. Of course, I had Red Bull a lot.
Are you trying to shill to see if we can get a sponsor right now?
I know, I would kind of hope. But no, it's great because those are companies that have supported sports, that have supported snowboarding and kind of like alternative things that have really blossomed and grown. There was a time when people thought that snowboarders would never make it to the Olympics.
And now they're trying to do the exact same thing. I've still got my fingers crossed for surfing, making it to the Olympics at some point. Cool. I think they're trying to set up a surfing venue in the Japanese Olympics.
I just don't know how you could control the waves because everybody gets a different wave.
Wave pool.
Do a wave pool.
With Slater's most all right, this isn't about gaming. This isn't about esports.
No, I don't want to.
Yeah, this is a completely different direction.
So Fortnite. Did you know that Fortnite is back with a new patch and it's John Wick?
Yes, the new limited time game mode has just started earlier this morning.
Yeah.
In which you can bounty hunt your way around as Baba Yaga to celebrate John Wick 3 Parabellum. It's Russian, I swear. To celebrate John Wick 3 Parabellum, we're going to get the chance to see people play as Wick and try to collect these gold coins in a squad-based mode, which is really exciting. We've been seeing data mining about this for a long time. There have been rumors of something like this approaching the game and returning to the game for quite some time, but now we're finally getting the chance to see it and play once again.
Yeah, and in this tournament arena, they have a bounty on themselves.
Exactly.
So you not only try and win the game, you have 3 separate John Wick skins, right? For
so
his 3 separate characters?
Perhaps. We're not quite sure. So we know there's the base John Wick from old school Fortnite way back in the day, which was, I think, licensed with John Wick 1. Now we've got his new skin, which you can see directly behind us on the right, where he's got the mustache and the long hair. And apparently there's also a damaged variant where like his sleeve is torn yeah, exactly. Does he say his own name? Is he a Pokemon? Oh, John Wick. John Wick. Just creeps around saying his own name.
No, he does.
Yeah.
He does.
So there's a lot of fun.
So they're trying to win, and then they're shooting each other also.
Exactly.
And
it is that bounty hunter game mode. In addition to that, we've also got patch 9.01 that dropped this morning, which included a handful of changes. Probably the one fans have been clamoring for the most. The drum gun has been nerfed. Instead of doing 27 to both head and body, it now does 23 to head and 22 to body, which reduces its time to kill by about 20%, which is pretty good overall considering it had close to a half-second time to kill previously with that crazy rate of fire.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that drum gun actually.
And then in addition to that, we're also getting the new tactical assault rifle, which ended up dropping earlier this morning, and which you can now see behind us spectacularly. And it looks pretty cool. Apparently it's supposed to be a close range option assault rifle that kind of tapers out into long range and isn't quite as effective.
But luckily the baller health is nerfed as well to 150 to nerf defensive option.
Epic did make a statement about that. They want the baller to be a mobility option, not a defensive option.
Yes,
so if you drop into a baller and start maneuvering around, yes, you have unpredictable mobility. However, you should not be unkillable and unhittable. Instead, they want there to be a skill ceiling where if you can hit someone in a baller, you should still be able to do damage.
I know you, Fortnite, you're out to get me.
Yes.
You don't like me running around the map.
Playing
just waiting
defensively.
until everybody dies.
Yes, and while we were talking about sponsors a little bit earlier for the Esports Arena in Montreal, we've also got to talk about a new sponsor that recently partnered with Complexity Gaming. Starting out just yesterday, we have found out that Miller Lite, who is a partner of the Dallas Cowboys, has just decided to sponsor Complexity Gaming as well.
I wonder how they do it tailgating. I could not even imagine.
You get a pickup truck and...
No, but how many Miller Lights? Like, I mean, wow.
You just get a keg.
Yeah,
or
everybody. Of Miller Lite.
An icy.
Wow.
And you just fill it with a whole bunch of liquor.
With Miller Lite. I mean, they must make a ton of
hamburgers
money.
And hot dogs.
And this is very smart. People are sitting in chairs. This is a much more like relaxed
do you mean
arena.
like tailgating for
Miller Lite? They must
events?
make so much of. Yeah, they must make so much money for the Dallas Cowboys. Now they're going to be at Complexity events. They must.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably.
Well, I mean, that's kind of part of the partnership, right? It was that Miller Lite was already sponsoring the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
And now because Complexity and the Dallas Cowboys are kind of partnering up a little bit, it's just an easy one over to get that whole umbrella of sports organizations.
That's very cool.
Which is very cool. They certainly could be at tailgates. That would be spectacular if we could have regional tournaments all over the place, and then you go and tailgate outside of the Esports Arena, Esports Central in Montreal, Canada.
Yeah, just as long as everybody uses a Lyft or Uber. That's what I like to support. But I like
Be
that
safe.
idea because you're going to be in an arena and you're just kind of more relaxed. Football can get so kind of intense.
Yes,
and,
well, I mean, that's why
and they're
people
drinking
love
and
sports as well, or esports as well, because you can also share that passion in a similar way
exactly.
in just a different format, I suppose.
While imbibing on some delicious.
Exactly. Miller Lite.
Lite.
Are you just like shilling? You're shilling
I'm
for
shameless.
sponsors right now. If there are any sponsors watching this, send us an email at info. No. Moving on to our next thing before you shill out even more. We've got Rainbow Six getting what looks to be a new operator. We had a trailer drop yesterday, and let's just play the clip because it looks really creepy. Nobody really knows what it can do. This is a CG that doesn't detail the abilities yet. This defensive operator looks to be some sort of offensive camera avoidance individual, and you can see them walking down the tunnel and then boom, just appearing in front of the camera
like
with
the
the
ring.
hood. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So we don't know what's going on with Noct just yet. There looks like there's some
creepy.
kind of camera avoidance. We're getting the full reveal at the Pro League Finals on May 19th.
Oh, that's scary.
So it is exciting to see what that is going to be for Rainbow Six Siege, especially considering the Rainbow Six Finals are happening this weekend. However, last night, very, very late last night on the Ubisoft client, we also saw an image leaked of Warden, the defensive counterpart to this sort of attacker as well. So they released an attacker and a defender. And Warden is a Secret Service agent. He's got the suit, he's got the tie, he's got the sunglasses. And the rumor is that he will have some sort of flashbang or smoke avoidance. So he can sit in the middle of a room, be watching a hallway, somebody throws a flashbang, instead of looking away when they breach, he can just continue watching the doorway, and they run in, and then he just kills them.
Okay.
Hopefully, theoretically.
All right, that sounds pretty vicious.
Yes, so we are still waiting for that as well. And of course, speaking of Ubisoft, we have also heard some rumors that we might be getting some new AAA titles from Ubisoft, 4 in total. And in an earnings call with investors, they said, hey, we've got a whole bunch of stuff still planned that should be coming out by March 2020. So there's still a whole bunch of stuff that could be happening for Ubisoft. We don't know what it could be. We know it's not going to be Assassin's Creed, and though a couple of devs were joking about Splinter Cell, they ended up saying it was a joke after all.
Sounds like it might end up being some high budget scenarios, right?
Exactly, right? But it's 4 full titles overall that we're going to be seeing. So we don't know what that's going to be. We know Ghost Recon was just teased with their sequel about a week ago, actually. Gosh, time flies. So we don't know what those other 3 games, if they include Ghost Recon in that, what else fits in there? Do you take South Park? Do you get Drive Club? Everybody's guessing, but nobody really knows. Certainly I'm excited for it though, because the more AAA games, the better.
Do you think any esports variants will come from this?
I think it's possible. It comes out to the developers. People have been talking about For Honor 2 for a little bit, but they've already been making putting out consistent content for the original For Honor. So getting the chance to see another glimpse at that fighting game would be quite exciting. But again, it's just speculation and guessing at this point. Ubisoft is a massive publisher with tons and tons of different development companies underneath them. So they do plenty of AAA titles. We're just waiting to see what it's going to be.
What will it be?
Yes.
What will it be?
Again, E3 is rolling around the corner too, so we could get a surprise Ubisoft announce at about that time.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see something come out of E3.
Yes.
Something new and exciting.
That
so
too.
we'll be patiently awaiting that.
Yeah. And of course, speaking of new patches as well, Red Dead Online is getting a big patch as of yesterday. Should be rolling out sometime soon, in which they added 3 new roles to the game: Bounty Hunter, Collector, and I want to say Harvester as well. In which you get the chance to take on more aggressive roles within the game, within the community itself. And this seems to be taking much more of a step towards that Grand Theft Auto Online 6 direction, or sorry, Grand Theft Auto Online 5 that we're seeing, in which Rockstar is almost encouraging role-play servers. You can more accurately follow defined roles within the game systems without having to customize and mod it in these crazy and ridiculous ways. So with this new patch that's been dropping, it allows players to take a much more direct role in Red Dead Online and interact with each other and the world around them in these more intricate ways.
Yeah, I really, really like those visuals. It looked really awesome.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot. It reminded me of the Hateful Eight. I would love to play
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
Imagine if you could actually be in the Hateful Eight.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what Red Dead
It
Online
reminds
is.
me of my first video game.
Yes. And
The
what was that?
Oregon Trail.
Oh, yeah. And now you die
I
of dysentery.
always died crossing the river.
Yeah.
I never
Well,
made
maybe
it
you shouldn't diss Terry
past.
so that you won't die of dissing Terry.
Hey.
But hey, that's again all of our news for Red Dead Online. We want to give a big shout out to Extreme Goat 922, the most extreme of goats.
Most extreme.
Yeah, he's got a lot of kickflips going on right now. He's a very, very awesome fella. He comments a whole bunch on our videos. We wanted to say a big thank you to you for contributing, of course, to the channel and keeping the conversation going.
Yes.
We are reading what you're saying. We're trying to level up this channel as much as we can. So
Thank
please
you.
let us know if there's anything else that we can do to continue to approach that direction.
Goat.
Yeah, goats. Just
goat.
just shout and goat. The goat, exactly.
goat.
But hey, that's it for today's show.
That's it for today. Thank you so much. I'm
Yes,
Sierra.
and I'm Dom. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you for tomorrow's episode of the Daily HUD tomorrow. Good night. GG.
GG.
I'm Sierra. Be sure to subscribe to our channel.